Let's get started. Okay, so it's going to be very short, just like I said, 20 or 30 minutes. We'll share a few ideas with you. And the title here is Once is Not Enough, but it's all about, your habits, habits, behaviors, the consistent actions you do that make a vision stick. And really, when you really want to make a big difference, you need to really create a vision powerful enough to bring people into it and want to go make it happen with you. And I think that's the real key in terms of driving big change or really making an impact as you go. And what I did is just put together a few ideas to think about in terms of driving a vision forward. And we're going to talk about first what is a vision, and then three different areas in terms of the focus on with your habits to drive this vision forward. And it'll be a summary there. So, and then I'll open up for questions at the end. So it's just something that I thought I would quickly share here. The first thing is, if you see on the screen here, a vision, it's a mental picture of what could be and fueled by a conviction of what should be. And that's a very good picture that Andy Stanley put together. Andy Stanley is a son of a very successful TV preacher. And he launched out with himself and said, I wanted to create my own church. And he had a vision of his church. In fact, when he created his church, he also created the organization chart of what his church and the picture of what his church would look like if it had 10,000 members. And in fact, when they first started, they're saying, I'm doing these 5 roles and you're doing those 5 roles and everything like that. So he had a very, very good picture of what that is. So the key about a vision is a picture of what could be. It's not a picture of the present. It's not just tweaking the present there. It's a picture of what you could put in place, the possibilities. And really, the better you paint those possibilities in the picture in people's minds, the more powerful the vision is. But the other thing, then the second part of that, which is very powerful that Andy Stanley talks about, is what should be. The should be really is, why? Why is this vision important? What's the impact it's going to make? What's the impact for the clients, the customers, or whatever you're doing, the people who are sharing that, and what's the impact for the people that are delivering it too? Because you think about it, a powerful vision engages both your customers and your clients, but also engages your employees to go make it happen. And I think this is probably one of the best definitions of a vision, because it helps people focus on the 2 key pieces that make it powerful: the could be and the should be. And I think those are really key. And what I found over the years is that the people who can create these visions are putting together powerful stories and examples which help people complete that mental picture. If you ask the gurus about visualization, and you think of sports and everything, people who became very successful, they visualize. And the power of visualization is when they visualize themselves right there doing it, the smells, the scents, all in lots of detail. So the more powerful and detailed the vision is that an organization creates, the more people can see themselves within that. And it's very interesting. There's something, I think it's in NLP or something, but if you want people to really embrace something, you want them to live it. They want them to feel that they're inside something happening. If you want people to disassociate, let's say you have a bad experience and you want to disassociate from something, you're actually watching the movie of you doing something. So you put yourself aside. But if you want people to really embrace the vision, it's not like they're watching you share it and they go, wow, that's great. You have to help your people to be feeling that they're inside of it, they're part of it, and they're living it. And so that's the power of stories and examples to bring that in. So what I want to do is quickly just share with you 3 things, 3 areas where I see making the vision stick and why it's so important. And it's really what your people feel. Okay. They have to feel the possibilities. They have to feel it's personal. And they have to feel that they're making progress towards it. And in other words, they want to feel I'm engaged. I understand. I'm in part of it. It's mine. It's personal now. And we're making progress towards it. I'm proud of the progress we're making towards that vision. So the first part, if possible, you have to involve your people in that, both in creating and sharing the vision forward, because people who share it, it goes back into their head in even more powerful ways. Now, making it personal, it's theirs. But if you really want them to use all of them in helping make the vision happen, you have to help them use their potential. And if the vision is big enough, everybody's going to have to use their potential to go make it happen. So that's very, very powerful. And then the last one is they have to see their part in delivering that vision. So they're recognized as they're playing a key role in putting that vision forward. And so if you think of the people who had very powerful visions, they were engaging people in all three of these areas. And you think about Steve Jobs, make a dent in the universe. He put that out there and very emotive that way. But like a company like Medtronic, who makes medical devices, their job is to save lives. And they bring people into the company whose lives they saved, and people see, they connect to the devices they made and everything. So they feel that they were engaged in the vision. It's mine. I can see my role in making it happen, and I can see how I'm delivering that and I'm being recognized for it. So keep in mind these three areas, and let's go just quickly into the three areas and go a little deeper that way. Okay, the first area is I'm engaged, right? And it's really getting people to understand what could be and what should be. And that's the power of sharing those stories and examples to help people, complete that picture, in their own mind and have the vision in their own minds that way. And so when you involve your people in the vision, say, how do you see this happening? Where do you see examples of this that we could do it? They start to complete the picture in more powerful ways for themselves. So if you think about it, if you really want a vision to stick, you have to have powerful stories and examples up front, and think of different combinations that you could use with people, to make it personal for them that way, but to engage them. And then the last thing here is get your people to share onward the vision. Think of their own examples and stories, but share the vision onward throughout their team in that. So it can't only be you sharing that vision. You get engaged the people around you to share that too. And remember, the two areas that it always has to cover is the possibilities. What could be? What are the possibilities for us to achieve as an organization? What are the possibilities that each person plays a role? And then what should be, the why behind that vision. And the why behind the vision has to be, how would you say, broad enough or powerful enough that everybody can see their own why within it. There's a lot of communications these days about the power of the why, Simon Sinek driving it and having a very strong company why. But a company why, or this should be, is only powerful if people personalize it in a certain way. Okay. And so that's the next one, which is really, really key. They have to feel it's theirs. So they have to be appreciated that you're using their potential to go make this vision happen. And so one of the things I found with the people who really drive a vision and make it stick is they're really aligning the vision to the potential of the people to go make it happen. Not just what they're doing today, but talking to the people about their potential. What do they see in them? How do they need to grow and stretch in order to go help that make that vision happen? So if you think about it, a vision is going to require people to step up. That means there's going to have to be higher expectations put on people, and you're going to have to stretch them out of their comfort zone. And one of the art of leadership is stretching people so that they're outside of their comfort zone, but they're still taking action. And some people can stretch a lot and they can take on and they're still taking action. Some people, you have to do it in steps. And I found that the real true art of leadership is to stretch people in steps that they can handle. But I found that people will always stretch more if the potential is clear inside their head as to what basically inside their head and their heart as to what they can accomplish. So I found if you really want to unlock really higher performance from people, you can't do it without you're talking to them about their potential. And you can't deliver a big vision unless you have, talk to people about their potential. Here's another quick one is I found is that if you were to delegate something difficult to do, maybe in implementing this vision, and you don't talk to your people about their potential, they might look at you and say, hey, you're dumping something really tough on me. But if you were to say to them, listen, I see this potential in you. If you were to increase your influencing skills, if you could, take on bigger roles, use the thought processes that you have, and you talk about their potential, then you give them the difficult thing to do, and they go, yes, I'm being able to go after my potential with this. I can showcase how good I am to more people. So keep in mind that set expectations, make the expectations very visible, and people will go chase that. So, the best way to make it personal with people is to align it to their potential as well. And they'll all have a why, but most people, in terms of your best people, will always want to grow, and they'll always want to use their potential, because if they're not using their potential, they think they're staying in place, and staying the same is not taking you anywhere. And the best people want to continue to grow. Okay. Now, the last area here is everybody sees they're part of the achievement of the vision. They see the progress that way. And that means they see their role in delivering what you're asking them to deliver. The most powerful thing you can do as a leader is to make people's commitments and achievements visible to everyone within the organization. Okay. A lot of leaders don't like to do that, because if they make too much visible and something goes wrong, then it's going to hurt me. I'm going to be hurt because I'm in charge and everything. But you have to be willing to take a few dents in your own reputation and keep everything visible, because visibility drives and reinforces accountability, but visibility creates such recognition and pride in people. So think about it. When you were given a tough project to do, and it was very visible, the project, and your boss made it visible, and you delivered a fantastic job, you feel tremendous pride. And if it was visible across the whole organization, you probably feel that, your career prospects are better because more and more people know how great a job you did. So one of the keys of making a vision stick, especially on this, is make things visible. The plans, the achievements, the commitments that people make. People like to be recognized for the achievement. They'll feel pride. They're going to reinforce accountability, because people don't want to look bad if it's visible in front of their peers. And the other thing here is really the power in getting people to verbalize those commitments and what they're actually going to do, especially in your key people, because there's something psychological about this. If we verbalize what we're going to do, it goes into our head more, and we take more action on that as well. So keep in mind that, your power of this is seeing them a part of it, and seeing that it's really personal for them, but they also need to see the progress they're making and how their role is so important in making that happen. So if you think about this, and quick summarize and then open it up for any questions, is you got to get people to have that feeling of I'm engaged and there's lots of possibilities here. Okay. It's mine. It's personal, and it's going to help me to use my potential. And I can see how I'm making a difference with this. I'm proud of that, and that progress is very, very visible. So if you think about, there's 3 areas there, and you think about the different actions you can make in all those areas. And if I have to stress one extra P, we have possible, performance, progress, it's potential. Because if you create a vision that is a powerful vision, and it's going to stretch people, you're going to have to use people's potential. And, you know, when I was leading in the corporate world, I once took over an organization. And so I had my one-on-ones, initial one-on-ones with my people. And I'm just talking to them and I say, well, how often has your boss talked to you about your potential? And one of my leaders said to me, I think you asked the wrong question. Has my bosses ever in the past talked to me about my potential? Because they never did. It's the most underutilized conversation, and particularly it's the most powerful conversation when you need to go focus on implementing a vision. Okay, so those are the key things I wanted to share. I just wanted to spend, you know, like I say, 15, 20 minutes sharing those. But now I'd like to open it up if there's any questions in terms of the different things I covered, or if you highlight any particular things that you found work well for you too. Okay, so I'm opening it up. Any questions? Yeah, Guy.
If I may, in your experience over the past 4 months, has it been easier for leaders to keep focus on their vision and have their staff support it? Has it been easier? Have the staff, is it because if it has been easier, is it due to the staff seeing the bigger picture because of C19 and realizing that, you know, it's not just waiting for the boss, but we've really got to get totally committed and engaged?
Yeah, I think, you know, what you found is that, you know, there's an expression that says, you know, you hold tight to the vision, right? So you hold very tight to the vision, but you're very flexible about making it happen. I think what you found in the lockdown is that people had to revisit their vision and they had to adapt the approach to go make it happen. Okay, so they had to pivot or whatever. But the thing is that by pivoting and doing something different, the power to pivot quickly is to say, this is what we want to achieve and accomplish, and this is what we're trying to do. So that vision, the companies that had a powerful vision, or at least repainted it in their people's minds, were faster to pivot. The people whose vision is clear and powerful, they were slower to pivot because people were thinking they were doing an entirely new thing versus they're just adapting their approach in delivering the impact. And I think that's the key. Yeah. So, you know, it's a matter of, you know, a vision should be so strong and powerful. And it's not like you're just going and abandoning it, but you have to often find a different path because circumstances change, the world changes. You want to deliver the same value, but you have to do it in a different way. Yeah. So, any other questions, comments?
I have one.
Sure.
So my question would be that you may have people who eventually sort of can align with the vision, but then there is some sort of a dynamic that it does not allow them either because maybe they are not so flexible, or maybe just they feel too hard the stretch that you were talking about.
Yeah.
What you can do there? What is the trick? What you should then unleash in those situations?
Yeah, you know, the thing I found with my people, the biggest thing when I needed to stretch a mindset, I don't know if you've experienced it, but, you know, I could say something 10 different ways to them, but they never get it. But if I showed them a video from someone they really respected or something of another company or whatever that is telling the exact same thing, they suddenly get it. So I found that the leader's power is not just using yourself, but using all different ways to stretch people's minds that way. And an occurrence, I had one person who just wasn't delegating, and I was sharing different ways, but somehow I never got through. But I had a video of someone this person really respected saying almost the same thing, and suddenly it clicked.
Okay.
So think of it this way. Influence is a team sport. We as leaders don't have to do all the influence ourselves. Think about other people who have those influences and try to go forward that way. And an example is like, in a company, you don't have the best rapport with every person. So if you go and try to influence your situation directly with them, they're not listening. But they have other coworkers who have, and you work it that way. Yeah. So I found that's the best. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, Guy. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Yeah, my dogs were barking. Sorry. Moving into the next 4 months or 6 months,
Yeah.
As a leader and the vision. Obviously, the vision is tied back to the culture, and your items here 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, need to play or need to be driven by not just the leader, but by a number of influences, as you've just spoken.
Exactly.
And the question, I suppose, and I'm talking out aloud or thinking out aloud, is how many of these businesses will really get to 80% or plus of their financial or sales goals or production goals? That's what I'm seeing as a challenge here in South Africa. Is they've got this vision, but getting enough influences, because in the environment we work, there's a lot of mavericks who operate who are in the business.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like the manipulators in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's 2 things I found over the years that made my life easy, much easier driving change. Is first, I needed to identify who are the key people and the role models that are absolutely key, that if I get them on board, other people will follow them, right? But there's another thing that's really key in driving a vision, is that you need the different parts of a business to stay connected in driving the vision, in terms of who are selling, who are providing the services or manufacturing. The most critical roles in every business is what I call the pivot roles, is where you have people in jobs where they have to look towards the customer and look back through the organization to make the right decisions. And whenever you're trying to drive profitability or a change or whatever, you need your best open-minded decision makers in those roles, because they are guiding everything else. And I found that if you don't spend the time to resource the right places with the right people, no matter what you do, it's always you're playing catch up because you haven't put it. And it's not just having the good people. Their good people have to be in those critical roles where you're asking them to make trade-offs and to balance short-term versus long-term and everything else. And I call those the pivot roles, where you're required to look both ways to make a good decision on behalf of the company. And that's absolutely key. So the best thing you can do in any organization is to think about 2 things first. Who are your best people, and in which roles do your best people need to be in order to make the right decisions? If you cover that, you 80% of your problems go away because of that. When you have the wrong people in those areas, it's almost nothing can be right, and you're always trying to play catch up because you have the wrong person. And think about this. Whenever you have the wrong person in a role, it's always the boss who comes down and does part of that role because they're not capable of doing the job. So if you're doing part of their job, you're doing less of your job. So I think the best leaders really think strategically about how they resource those really key roles, and the really best companies have succession plans, strong succession plans behind those roles, where they have at least 2 or 3 options to go and replace those critical paths. Yeah.
Well,
good.
as I understand it, to keep the vision going. You know, a lot of people have their vision boards and their value boards all around the office, etc. And I suppose the leader with their influences, that should be on a sort of a monthly agenda.
Yeah.
What do you think? You know, a monthly agenda where you might just, when you're having a meeting, it's part of an agenda where you spend some time just talking about the vision, bringing up any new stories, etc., just to keep it alive, because sometimes it's just stuck out there on, you know, around the office, and now with the virtual stuff, it's not actually in your face.
It's not there. Yeah, it's a very good point. There's two factors you'll see with people with the vision. They have visual cues for the vision, right? The pictures and everything, different things, because that helps hit the subconscious mind because they're seeing it every day. But the real life of anything is when you talk about it. So what gets talked about comes about. An example, just a very simple example, not a vision. If you ask your people to do something and complete it by the end of the month, by the end of September, and then they never hear you ask about it between then and September, they don't think it's as important, or it doesn't register as much, or you never discuss it. So what gets discussed gets dealt with. Now, the trick or the importance of a leader is to arrange the discussion at the level you'd like to have the discussion. So you arrange and you focus the discussion in a way that it's going to reinforce the right action in people. So if you discuss it too high a level, it's not going. If you discuss it too low a level, it's not going to work either. So, you know, think of yourself like an orchestra conductor. You want to have the discussion about the vision playing good music. And that's not easy all the time. And sometimes it takes some strategic thinking as to how to organize the discussions so that it's reinforcing the right key messages with your people. Yeah.
Thank you.
So good. I mean, that's our 30 minutes here. Hopefully you guys found some ideas here that you can use. It's just a very simple, some concepts around this, but if I just reinforce one last thing with you guys, is the discussion around potential is very underutilized. And the more you can align people's potential to any type of change or a vision or something that's going to stretch them, the more they're going to stretch in a positive way and thinking like this is great versus a negative way. So thanks everybody for being on today. And I wish you guys a fantastic finish to your week.
Perfect. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Always
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great week too. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.